Alright, let's see. I should be recording right now. Hello, I have another vlog, and I'm actually recording this some brief period after Valentine's Day. Today is apparently the 20th of February, and why am I doing this? Why does it matter? I have received a ridiculous amount of, well, let's go. As far as like threads on various websites, like anything that has forums, pretty much like Team Liquid, Reddit, anything like that, you'll have a ridiculous amount of dating, love interests, random ass shit on these forums about and around Valentine's Day. And I've always been among my friends like the go-to guy for dating advice, not because I'm like some high-strung I date a bunch of people, but I consider myself rather objective, and I have over the years gathered a lot of advice in this field. It doesn't really come from the fact that I've dated a lot. I've actually only had relationships with three women over the course of my life, and I'm gonna be 23 in less than a month. So it's not like I'm out on the town every night. It's just they've been lasting relationships, and I really care for the people that I date. Obviously it helps regardless of who it is if you actually care for them. But I wanted to kind of go into like a general approach to dating and my advice that I can give you. If you're new into the dating game, if you're one of those guys just sitting there lonely on Valentine's Day and you really wanted to, you're like, what if, and you just, in the comic section, you would just have like a bubble pop up over your head, thoughts, dream cloud, stuff like that. So yeah, I come by a lot of this advice not only by myself. While I was growing up, all the way through college too, the overwhelming majority of my friends were girls. And through them, I was actually, I was the inverse. I was the guy. I was the guy who they would actually come to if they needed dating advice. Like, my boyfriend is acting so stupid right now. A lot of the situations, I was just like, no, not gonna touch it. But they actually gave me a lot of good things to think about. And it was actually kind of funny. I say 3 relationships, but there were actually 4. I'll go. This is embarrassing. I should have probably shared this in my embarrassing story vlog, but I didn't come to me at the time. I was just thinking about it as I wanted to do this vlog. So the first girl that I asked out in high school, this is not like a school year crush in like elementary school or middle school. The first girl that I actually asked out, we ended up going out, and on the second date, after the second date, right? So after the second date, went out to dinner. The next day, she came up to me and she was like, I don't necessarily know what you mean by going out with me like this. She actually thought I was gay. So when I say a lot of my friends were girls, I do get that a lot. So that was ridiculously funny, and now that I can look back on it and laugh, it was ridiculously funny. At the time, I was ridiculously sad. Obviously, because like you get on the hype train when somebody says yes, and then even for a second date and stuff. No, actually, she thought I was gay. It ended up being a friend of mine that I still talk to now. So it was a rather funny experience, but yes, that did happen. So sadly, it was a sad point in my life. Now it's a funny point in my life. So to the dating advice, as far as just asking a girl out, so many people are really intent on doing things online or on the phone, stuff like that. Even through Facebook, I have seen like a variety of people propose the idea of going out for something, what be it, not in person, and I would just wholeheartedly say no. Like, if you're going to ask someone out, whether it be a girl, whether it be a guy, ask them out in person. Actually talk to them, physically talk to them, and make eye contact while you're doing it. Don't have your hand in your pockets. Don't be looking down, looking at your shoes, looking around, trying to see if there's anything. No. Look them in the eye, alright? And that's really important, too, for when you actually go on a date. Especially if you're going, generally I wouldn't suggest dinner for a first date. I'll get to that a little bit later. But if you ever are in a situation while you're eating together, and you are seated across from each other, when they are talking to you, look them in the eye. Eye contact is really, really, really big. More so for girls than for guys. But definitely always look people in the eye, right? And you can pretty much, you don't have to have something planned in advance. Obviously, you want to look somewhat decent. Every time, I've actually, there's only one, my current girlfriend right now, is the only one that I actually had absolutely no idea about before I ended up asking her out. Before that, I was kind of nervous too. I mean, you will get nerves. Like, you have to burn through a ridiculous amount of women saying no to really, like, to get over that. I still haven't gotten over that. So yeah, you still get nervous. But I think it's pretty worth it. If you don't think it's worth it, then I'm sorry. Eventually you'll get to that point, you'll understand it's pretty worth it. Make sure that you look somewhat decent. You don't have to make it too obvious. This is one of those, like, double-edged swords. You don't want to make it too obvious that you're going to ask someone out today. Don't like, I usually dress like X. I'm all of a sudden going to dress like Y. No, be yourself. It's a really important thing to note. Always be yourself, especially in the beginning phases of a relationship, because if someone falls in love with you for someone you're not, they're going to dump you, they're going to cheat on you. It's going to happen eventually. Like, whenever that relationship starts to wane and she realizes who the hell you really are, or he realizes who the hell you really are, shit is going down, and you don't want to be a part of that. Most likely you'll go down with it. So, put some effort into looking decent. Don't go completely out of your way. But, let's see. That's pretty much it for that. As far as, you don't have to actually have a location planned, you don't have to have events planned when you say, just kind of a generic, hey, I'm interested in getting to know you better, would you like to go out with me sometime? And then see what she says. If she says yes, obviously get her number, text her. If you already have your number, great. All right, say, like, all right, I have your number, I'll give you a call or give you a text. Having said that, I would go for a call, personally. You don't have to talk to them while you're actually, talk to them in person, when you're setting up the plans for a date. I would definitely take initiative for the first date. I'm a guy, I don't know the other way around, but I've never been in a relationship where the first date, she's decided what to do. Having said that, if she decides to go for a second date, well, actually, we'll get to that in a second. So first dates, all right? You have success. She has said yes. He or she has said yes. Yay! Congratulations. You've passed the initiation. What do you want to do next? A couple things. A lot of people, I don't know if it's an American thing. It's really awkward to me. Don't go into the date expecting that she will either pay or split or pay for something. Expect that you will pay every single cent, every single dime on the date that you plan. This is especially important if it's somebody you don't know all that well, because it's kind of, at least in the society, at least in, like, American Western society, guys generally are the one to pay. And this is actually true for a lot of Eastern cultures as well. Very rarely will the girl ever pay. If you end up planning a dinner date, maybe she'll pay for dessert, something like that, maybe the tip, but generally it's not going to be the entire thing, like 9 times out of 10. So always expect to pay. This goes into planning your date too. If you do not have a wealth of dollar bills in your pocket, bling bling, do not go on this lavish, expensive date, especially for a first date, because you will look like a dick if you don't pay for it. And if she doesn't opt to pay for it, and you have this preconceived notion in your head that she should, you're the one that fucked up. Only you. She didn't do anything wrong. You're expected to pay for whatever you invite her to, because you're the one inviting. You're initiating this. You asked her out, right? If she asked you out, it's a completely different ballgame. I've never been in that situation, except for, again, when I got asked out by guys. No, I'm not actually gay, but I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's happened. It's happened a disturbing amount of times. Again, now I can think about it and laugh, but it's really fucking awkward. It's not even like you're at gay bars or anything. It's just, it's awkward. Um, so yeah, be sure that you're willing to pay for it. Having said that, I wouldn't suggest dinner for a first date. That's something kind of a shock, but if you know the person, it's really, and if you've known the person for a little bit, like if you're asking out a friend, I'm very wary of that, especially because I have so many female friends that I don't want to screw up our friendship going forward. Having said that, my first two relationships were girls that I knew for one for since we met in second grade, and the other, I would say we met summer of before freshman year of college. So make sure that you, if you know them, kind of hint at that. Take them on a date, something they would like. If they're into art, maybe a trip to the art museum. It's free. All right, you can possibly get something at something to eat, something snack wise at a food stand or something, and that's pretty cheap, and it allows you to talk. That's the biggest concern. You want to be somewhere where you can actually have a conversation with them because you want to know more about them. You want them to know more about you. Don't go to the movies on a first date. If you're like 12 and you're going on a date, sure, go to the movies. Like, knock your fucking selves out. If you're actually looking for a relationship after this, be sure you don't go to the movies, because the movie is a dark theater where you can't even see whatever person you're sitting next to, communicate with them at all, because you can't talk during the film or else you get bitched at. And what are you going to do afterwards? Maybe go out to dessert, and dinner and a movie, that is way too fucking expensive for a first date. And I'm not being stingy with this. Like, if she doesn't go on a second date with you, it's not a drop in the bucket. Because movies are fucking expensive now. Having said that, it's something good for future dates, like 3 or 4, but definitely not on the first date. I would not suggest a movie theater. Other things like walks in the park, runs. If you run, maybe it's a really good way to open up to people that you like, that you know something about. Like, hey, I've heard you run. I've seen you run. Do you want to run together sometime? That was actually how my second relationship got started. So yeah, go gung ho for that. Always let her lead though. Never take the initiative on that. Just play it. You don't want to insult her. Obviously there are physical boundaries that you have to understand between the different genders, but always let her lead regardless. If you're not too confident in your ability to run at her pace, then kind of fake being injured. Fake being injured. That's a good way. I would say, yeah, fake being injured. Or fake getting over an injury. You don't want to ask her out to run and then fake your injury. After that, breakfast, really good. Again, you can talk during your run. It's not like you're going to be doing sprints or leg work while you're running with a partner. So it's a good way to open up to people. Other things, concerts, recitals, it's another thing like a movie theater. I wouldn't suggest it. Again, it's something good for a future date. Yeah, and that's something too that can show, if you've known the person for a while, that a concert would be a good date. Because you know her, you know what she likes. You can go ahead and suggest that, and she'll be like, oh my god, yeah. Hopefully. If she doesn't, then you failed miserably. Sorry. Alright, so that's about it for first dates. Don't be too active about looking for a second date. If something goes like absolutely haywire, if it's somebody you're not familiar with that you've just met, she said yes, and you're in the middle of a date. If it's a bad date, if you don't end up liking her, you're kind of responsible to try and turn it around, right? It falls into your boat to try and steer it back on course. If you don't, then like if you absolutely hate her. I've never had this happen to me, so I can say that like 100% thankful. But I have heard a bunch of stories from friends, both guys and girls, who have had like miserable first dates, and it's been rather comical for me. It's one of those things you can just sit back and laugh about. But it's actually like scarring to the point where you're just sitting there like, I fucking hate this person. Why am I here? No, don't show the fact that you're angry. And when it comes to it after the date, if she wants to try and go on a second date after that, congratulations, you've done something right. But just say no. Don't lie. Don't make up an excuse. Just say politely, no, I would rather not. I'd rather not. I don't feel like wasting your time. It's not something that I feel like pursuing in a relationship. Just be polite about it. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick, and making excuses is being a dick, because she will call you again. And she will continue to call you until she really gets the meaning behind it. That's just not fair to her. Alright, so second dates. If she says, if you, like, you can suggest too, like, hey, do you want to do this again sometime? Generally, I think that I've never been in a position to ask that because she's initiated it. I think so, but if she does, great. Like, if she does, and you actually genuinely care for her, go for it. Or if you're more interested in her, sure. Second dates, I would stick off from the movies, but just build on what you did in the first date. This, I would suggest lunch. I would suggest dinner. Someplace. You don't want to go to fast food. It's actually, I did have a class at one point that said I'm pretty sure it was Korean culture. Fast food is actually, like McDonald's and Western food chains, is actually a very common first date site. And I forget what the title of the class was called, or why I was reading these books, but or why I was reading these books. I have good grades, but I'm a horrible student. So yeah, definitely go to a place that's not too hole in the wall. Hole in the walls are great. You want to have, this is especially true as you go to college, because generally you won't meet people outside of your college town or outside of your hometown. Build up a list of hole in the walls that have ridiculously good food. They are great to put in the pocket for a rainy day, for like a fourth or a fifth date or something. Definitely. Always keep a handle on that. There's this one fucking fantastic mole place, and I really enjoy Mexican food. I would say easily the best mole I've ever had in my travels, and I eat Mexican a ridiculous amount. So that's, if you know that she likes spicy, there you go, mole place. But it's not something I would ever take a girlfriend to on a first date. That's a little bit like, it looks a bit skeevy. So definitely pocket those. And you don't want to go to like a 5-star restaurant unless you can afford it. If you want to blow money, go for it. If you want to blow money and you don't think like a walk in the park or a walk to the museum is enough, like investment wise, get her a flower. It doesn't have to be a bouquet of flowers, because it's really awkward to, like, when you go to pick her up, just give her a flower. It's awkward to give her a bouquet of flowers when it's not like some special occasion, because then she just sits there with him and like, what the fuck do I do with this bouquet? No. It shows you care, right? If you can figure out her favorite color, hats off to you, because I've never been able to do that before before the first date for flowers. But subsequently, favorite color, it's a you should definitely put that in the back of your head, because a flower in her favorite color is an awesome way to show that you care. Let's see. That covers a lot of what I think I've gotten. If you have any questions as far as anything I've talked about, or just general questions that came up when you're on dates, when you're like thinking about how to ask someone out, stuff like that, just post them in the comment section. I'll answer if I have something to say on that topic, or either in this or a future vlog or stuff. And that's I think that's pretty much it. I don't have. I have just a ridiculous amount that I could go on and forever in this subject, but generally my video logs are pretty long, comparative to other people on base trade, so I don't want to leave this like ridiculously long. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it here. If you enjoyed it, let me know. It's something that it's a topic I could definitely go on more about, but just thought I would throw out a little helping hand here. This isn't me being high strung or anything. This is just kind of a down to earth talk with talk about the subject, because there are literally like way too many threads on this on Team Liquid specifically too. Like, it's a StarCraft slate. What the fuck? That's what the blog section is for. And you see girl blogs like way too often too. So yeah, pretty much. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.